Yakuto Naruto is a fucking savage, dude. Straight OG. What a boss! Like, he's mid-slash going in against my girl Atwi, who, I've been catching up on the game, and I am utterly in love with Atwi right now, but I'm going to talk about that in a bit, because I do have a couple of nitpicks with this episode, but I digress. The way he mid-slash, as soon as he notices that his daughter is okay, and turns on the Uzurusha soldier, I'm just like, yo, what a monster. And now the party is finally complete. We have Yakuto Naruto on our side, and everyone was going in this episode, dude. Utawari Mono, Itsuari no Kamen, episode 14, titled Blade Master. I was hyped at this episode because, and a lot of this review is going to be framed in this context, I just really caught up in the game to where we are in the anime over the course of this last week. A couple days ago, before winter season really started getting hectic, I got to right before, Yakuto Naruto's introduction to the game. So seeing him here right now, I was just like, yo, this man is so much, even more beast than I thought he was. His presence and his demeanor rivals the 8 Pillar Generals, just straight up. So I loved his introduction. His daughter is cute as fuck. Like the way, and I don't even know what Haku expected. Like I felt bad for Haku, but you can't be dragging this little girl out of the tent. She doesn't know you. She's calling for her father, and when I'm just like, yo, this girl is adorable. And I liked her reaction. I didn't think it was annoying at all. I'm like, you think she's just gonna go with these random people? She's already been captured, and who are you? So I digress. She's waiting for father, but I digress. This episode finally getting into the more, tactical aspects, the militaristic aspects, finally going to war and seeing some battles and some drama taking place in Utawari Mono, Itsuari no Kamen, because up until this point, we've had heavy slice of life elements and building up these characters, which was awesome, but this feels like, classic Utawari Mono right now, just the large-scale battles, granted, and I think White Fox could definitely do better with the animation, but granted, these battles were just, for the most part, like the massive forces clashing when you saw Dekapompo's forces going in against, the Uzurusha forces, and then, Kuon and the rest of the crew going in Musou style against the basically the captives and various fodder soldiers. So since it was just all fodder being mowed down and no serious contenders in battle, aside from, and granted that it does come down to Atwi versus, Yakuto Naruto in the fact that could have even been much more savage, but aside from that, I expect that the more intense battles, because even if that skirmish between Oshitono and Haku was any indication, I expect that the actual clashes and confrontations are going to be fucking beasts. But this was still amazing, finally getting to the battlefield, to the horrors of war, seeing, just the various aspects of things that were taking place, from the captors being forced to fight against their countrymen and everything like that, and so it was nice to finally get here, but I do have some problems with how this episode was handled, even though I'm feeling happy about it, just seeing everybody finally getting to see everyone go in and, getting that classic Utawari Mono vibe. There's a couple of things that this adaptation is doing right now, having really been getting into this, that is making me a little salty right now. First of all, the biggest thing that I just experienced the other day that was amazing to me was what actually happened. The twins did not save Haku from that rogue arrow. That is not how it went down. Atwi comes out the back of the carriage and snatches it up right in front of his face. That is incredible in the game, dude. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know why they changed it to the twins, although I do like that as well, because I do like the twins, but I prefer them having Atwi get shine. And granted, we got to see her finally go in, which I always knew she was a savage even before playing the games and really, using her in the battles, because, for those of you that are unaware, in the game, it's half visual novel, well, I'd say 75 to 80% visual novel elements, and then you have 20%, strategy, RPG style tactical battles where you kind of move along the map and you control, like, the individual units and the individual characters. And so using Atwi there, man, knowing that she is one of the strongest characters in the game, her, and I knew this even before I was really getting into the game, back in the episode where they were with that whole ship incident with Dekapompo, and Ukon and Haku were there undercover, and Atwi, we saw just a brief glimpse of her strength on some, near reminiscent of Kara, just straight up. So I knew she went in, but seeing her in the game, dude, she's straight insane, dude. She's almost near psychotic levels when she's going in a battle, just laughing, jumping around like that. It's amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing to me, and we got to see a glimpse of that here, especially with her going. You saw the pole arm drill and everything like that, which is looking fucking beast. But in terms of her kind of exuberance and just kind of insane quality in the battlefield, that was kind of toned down, and we got a little bit of shine taken away from my girl. But nonetheless, we finally got to see her going in. Nosuri going in was something that I was just like, yo, this is fucking beast. Because I knew Ogi was a beast, man. I knew Ogi was a beast. But Nosuri going in was amazing to me, because I never really vibed with Nosuri like that, aside from the comedic aspects, like when they were in the carriage and whatnot, and you see her and they're playing the game with Kuon, and you see that kind of competitive nature to her and how she is. Like, I love everything about her personality, but actually seeing her go in like that, dude, I was like, yo, she's a savage. Ogi went into, as to be expected, you know, slicing and dicing people's clothes off left and right, and I was expecting a bit more from the animation during these scenes, but ultimately it is what it is. Pacing of the episode was okay. I thought it should have been a little bit quicker paced, because where we ended at the end of this episode is hype, seeing you know Mikazuchi and Oshitoro there, you know, in front of Dekapompo, trying to flee the scene like the slithering rat bastard that he is. Like, I'm just like, are you fucking serious right now? You got out the chair and made a mad dash for it. Are you like? And the thing is, you knew he was fucking up, not even listening to Maruro's advice. You know you're fucking up when Maruro is your tactician, okay? And when Maruro is speaking reason to you, you know you're a fucking blithering idiot, just straight up. It's confirmed. So Dekapompo, unfortunately, you know, Oshitoro and Mikazuchi are there, so I doubt he's going to get his head lopped off like I wanted him to, but regardless, it is what it is. We see Nekone there. The biggest thing I did like about this episode was, you know, Rurian starting to get this courage and that building up inside her, because Rurian is one of my favorite girls in, you know, Itaewari no Kamen, and seeing how she was so apprehensive about the battlefield and everything like that, to the point where they actually go to this camp, and then she realizes that she has to stand strong and save these women, and she really feels for them in this situation, and she convinces Haku to aid her, which Haku is the last discussion I need to get into. It's bothering me right now, but at the same time, it's fucking well done. So I don't know, it's a weird, I'm on two sides of the fence as far as Haku's portrayal in this anime is going, but as far as Rurian, man, I like that villain and that character development. Kokopo was fucking MVP once again, coming in with the save. It was awesome to see that, but you know, here's the thing with Haku. When we go to the actual little base camp that the Uzurusha had set up, and they free the captives, you see that prowess, that strategical prowess that it takes in order to enact something like that. Those tactics, having the twins set up these false, you know, kind of smoke flares and everything like that, and going and using that as a distraction to free everybody and dart out of there. The man has this innate genius about him that's masked by the air of, you know, nonchalant, aloof, and lazy character that he has. He's just super detached. He comes across as retarded at times, and part of it is Akira's voice acting too, because it's fucking amazing. But see, like, even at the beginning of this episode, where my girl Kuon, you know, which was fucking an adorable scene, and she's asking him to, you know, come with them and everything like that. And I felt better. And once I knew that Kuon was going to go and that Nosuri was going to go and by extension Ogi was going to be there, I was like, alright, well, Atui and Rurian are going to be fine. Even though I knew that Atui would go in. Even though I know Atui goes in, I was scared for Rurian at the time. So, seeing that, I was like, alright, it's all good, right? But you see, like, Haku, and yeah, he's tired, and yeah, that's just how he is, but the way that they kind of make him so detached from the idea of war and battle and everything like that, and his whole demeanor throughout it, this kind of, oh, I need to get, I mean, the comedy is hilarious, like, oh, look at these guys drinking in the middle of the day, like, I envy them, I mean, oh, that's terrible and everything. I'm like, yeah, Haku's fucking amazing, I love him, but I feel as though in the game, they definitely downplayed, you know, the instances of little skirmishes and stuff, and you know, events that have occurred where Haku had to actually go in and go in on the battlefield and everything like that, and that's definitely been toned down, this adaptation, as a result, as well as the scenes, them really playing up Haku's kind of aloof, detached demeanor. It kind of makes him seem like and he is, to a certain extent, supposed to seem like a fucking goofball, like he has no idea what's going on, but beneath the surface, that charisma that he has innately, which is definitely interrelated, without spoiling anything, the very fact of his nature. You know, if you've seen first Utaramona, or you played this game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He has this innate, you know, character about him, and this kind of wisdom that's buried deep inside of him that is not really coming to the forefront except for, kind of unspokenly. So I don't know right now. I don't know as far as that's concerned, but they need to pick up the pacing just a tad bit if they want to go. I mean, next episode is going to be fucking beast. I already know that, especially titled Masks. We're most likely going to get into some Western Metia stuff, and that's going to be amazing. But I don't know what I want to do right now, because now that I'm basically where we are in the game, I feel as though I want to keep going because I could not stop. And seeing some of the differences and some of the, and yes, the game is much more slow paced. That's the problem. That's why it took me so long to get caught up, get to this point. But there's so much content that is glossed over, packed into the game, that I do want to see all of it. I don't know if I'd rather see it first. I feel as though, like, even with this episode, kind of seeing, knowing a little bit of what was going to happen in this episode kind of reduced my enjoyment slightly. So I feel as though I'll probably have to put a hold to the game if I can. I don't know. I can't make any promises, and just experience it in the anime first, and then go back and see how it's, it was originally done. But nonetheless, I'm loving Toara no Kama, and this adaptation is amazing. I love what White Fox is doing with it, but just nitpicking at certain things as a result of playing the game is definitely going to happen, but it is what it is. So let me know your thoughts on this episode of Toara no Kama, and I'm out. Peace.